Does 5-MeO DMT provide enlightenment? Let's talk about it. Does 5-MeO DMT provide enlightenment? Let's talk about it. So to talk about this question, I'm going to be using the word enlightenment and awakening kind of interchangeably. Awakening, the idea of awakening comes from Buddhism, and it's basically a very similar idea to the idea of enlightenment, though perhaps has some slightly different nuance, but we won't worry about that. But to answer this question of does 5-MeO DMT provide enlightenment, we need to first talk about what it means, the difference between enlightenment or awakening and an enlightenment experience or awakening experience. Very different things. I do think that 5-MeO DMT quite often provides a moment, a glimpse of enlightenment, a glimpse of the oneness that we all are with the universe, that we are all part of one thing, that we are all formed in love. That's really the root of our work at Enfold, is to help people connect with that sense of love, that sense of interconnectedness. And so 5-MeO DMT, once you've done enough work and when it's the right time, you can have these beautiful experiences of connecting with that oneness, realizing that you are one with the universe and all of that. It is an enlightenment experience. It is beautiful. It is a pure awakening. But then, of course, you come back and there's work to do. And you have old conditioning and old patterns and personality traits and beliefs and all of these other things. And those things don't just necessarily go away after one experience with 5-MeO DMT. Usually there's a couple of weeks of this afterglow where you feel lighter and it's easy and nothing really bothers you and all of that kind of thing. But that's only persistent if you really put in the effort to establish a new approach and a new perspective on your life. So when we actually talk about awakening, the process of awakening from the perspective of Buddhism is a slow and gradual process that takes effort, that takes discipline, and it's the process of cultivating wisdom and cultivating compassion and cultivating perspective. And again, all of these things take time to do. So what I feel like the trap is that you have this enlightenment experience and you feel like, oh, now I get it. I'm one with God. And now I must be perfect because I understand that. You have this like deep, true understanding. And the truth is like that experience can be super impactful. It can really shift the way you see the world. But it doesn't necessarily shift your mental habits, because your mind comes back online afterwards and your ego comes back online, and you have all the same conditioning and patterning from childhood that you did before. Sometimes that patterning is, you have some more distance from it and you can respond to it differently. That's one of the gifts of this medicine. But it's not like this immediate transformation that occurs and suddenly everything has changed. And so that's the big difference between awakening or enlightenment on a continual basis versus having an enlightenment experience and having a glimpse of awakening. One happens very fast and it's fleeting and it may have some afterglow, but if you're not putting in the effort, it will just wash away. And that's why you see a lot of people that have done a lot of psychedelics and fall into the trap of thinking that they are now enlightened or that they are somehow risen above the rest of folks. And unfortunately, that's a trap. And the beautiful aspect of psychedelics and 5-MeO DMT in particular is that it gives you this glimpse of reality, this glimpse of truth. And from there, you can then really have perspective on your own life. You can find out what's most important to you, and you can start putting effort into those areas and become more awakened. But that's a gradual path, and that takes time. So hopefully that answers that question. Sorry to disappoint you if you were hoping for an instant enlightenment.